Welcome, everybody. It's my great pleasure to welcome you on another episode of the Frogix Green Tech Talks. Today, we have a wonderful guest here with us. We have Mr. Moein Nodehi from Biotonomy joining us live from Malaga. Thank you so much, Moein, for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Jenna.
Absolutely a pleasure. For those of you that love nature and nature-based architecture, I'm not quite sure how it would be the best, but you see a little bit around the design approach and the architecture approach that the company or the company that Moein represents, Biotonomy, is designing and putting out there into the world. So let me give you just a little bit of information on Moein's background and what are we going to talk about today in the discussion or in the conversation today. So Mr. Moein Nodehi is the founder and the CEO of Biotonomy. By professional background, he's an architect and engineer, and really his passion for autonomous buildings and nature-based solutions is visible across all his engagements. Biotonomy is a construction and development company with the mission to transform buildings and cities to become a force for restoring the natural world by setting a new standard for nature-based architecture. Some of Biotonomy projects that we are hopefully also going to talk about today, I strongly believe so, were also recently awarded by the United Nations, the government of Spain, and the city of Malaga, recognizing them as some of the most impactful and innovative solutions addressing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Now, beyond this massive project, massive mission with Biotonomy, Moein also serves as an ambassador for green buildings on the world's largest nature-based solution platform. With this, once again, let me welcome you in this episode.
Thank you so much.
More than welcome. So, we have a little bit of an idea. You have also this beautiful stone wall, which I indicated before that in your background. So already gives a little bit of impression of the approach. Maybe you can share with us, Moein, to start with. Where do you get this inspiration to found this project of Biotonomy? How did it start?
Well, it started off from understanding really the challenges and the problems in the construction industry, but also in combination with my passion of ancient architecture in general. So the reason I went into engineering and architecture was because I was very inspired by ancient civilizations, their buildings. So I went to study architecture and engineering, but to my disappointment, I didn't learn anything of from the ancient solutions. So I started working on some of the biggest construction projects in the world. Um, in the Middle East, but also in Scandinavia. And I learned, the downsides of construction. I saw, while around the world we were celebrating for these projects being some of the biggest construction projects, I was on site seeing how the wastewater was basically completely going untreated into the environment. And no one was talking about that. So the more project I did, the more I realized that this is a huge issue. I learned that actually 80% of the wastewater that are produced globally goes untreated. And this is a major issue for our environment. So I basically felt that I don't want to contribute to this. So I left my job in search of alternative ways of designing and building.
Mhm.
And I've found a lot of amazing people around the world doing great projects. However, I also understood their shortcomings, which ones no one was really focusing on scaling those solutions and bringing them to the urban areas where our challenges is mainly in the urban areas. The way we're building our cities are going in the complete opposite direction of how we should build our civilizations. we're going against everything uh, that uh, works with nature, the way we're designing our cities. So I basically decided that what I was looking for wasn't out there. So I basically decided that I'm just going to develop and create the thing that I believe is needed in the world.
Amazing, amazing. Congratulations to that. I mean, as far as we, are part of the vision which we see now kind of being more concrete, yeah, definitely it's something very unique. Now, you mentioned that that the problems that we see right now, and, it's really complex topic, especially the urban living. What do you see as most problematic in these areas? Where do you see the biggest challenges to tackle? Did you potentially also kind of pick up in your project or reflect?
See, the thing is, the solutions are there. Is not that we're lacking solutions. There are amazing reference projects around the world that pretty much addresses many of the urban challenges that we have. The biggest challenge is the lack of awareness, especially in the people who are taking the decisions.
Hmm.
So mainly in urban planning. Unfortunately, the majority of people working in urban planning are not aware that you can use nature-based solutions for for example, treating wastewater. They all have been educated that you have to use mechanical solutions that consumes energy and chemicals, which are very pollutive to our environment.
Hmm.
So that's the big challenge is there's really lack of awareness of these solutions and their impact.
I think you made an absolutely perfect bridge. So, when we talk about the urban design or urban solutions that we can apply, I would basically kind of switch also to the project, which is a little bit visible behind me. You mentioned wastewater. I mean, we are a water planet. The body is pretty much made in majority 70% or something of water. You mentioned the huge problem with wastewater management, which is kind of massive. We know water retention or rainwater management is like forgotten completely. So, what can you tell us about this beautiful project behind me? I believe it's the hotel facade in Malaga that you were also recognized and awarded for. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this is a innovation project that was funded by the European Union,
Hmm.
and it was specifically aimed at developing a project that demonstrates how you can integrate nature-based solutions into the construction industry.
Mm.
So Malaga is facing severe droughts. The level of the water tables under the ground are alarmingly low. So the city, is in an alarming situation when it comes to water. And so actually at the moment, there's new restrictions where really limits and don't allow people to irrigate green areas with communal water because there's such a lack of water. So we wanted to um, develop a project that would demonstrate how we can reuse the wastewater from buildings to
Hmm.
create green areas, and specifically green areas in the urban environment, because the challenge with integrating green areas in urban environment is that our cities are designed and developed around traffic so much, so there's not much space to plant trees and plants horizontally anymore. So
Mm.
we're also seeing that a lot of people are developing vertical gardens, which they look very beautiful and they have a lot of environmental benefit as cleaning the air, and they also work very good as an insulation for the building. But one thing we also learned that is not that environmental friendly is that vertical gardens consume a lot of water as well. So then we came up with the idea, what if we would build a vertical garden that would reuse the wastewater from the building to irrigate? And at first, this was to many people a crazy idea, and especially for the urban planning department. Um, Asking permission for them to treat wastewater on a facade in the heart of the city is quite scary for them. If you know, so
For all those urban planners with us, you know exactly what Moin is talking about. And yeah, but let's come to the technical part. I have some questions, but yeah, let's go.
yeah,
So
so basically, long story short, we had to convince a lot of people within the city that this is a project we believe, the city should do in order to to start innovating more towards reusing wastewater from buildings. So specifically, like you mentioned, this building is a hotel. So we've developed a 100 square meter vertical garden on the facade, and it has around 2,500 plants
mm,
from 20 different species. And so we are actually reusing only the water from 2 rooms. This hotel has many rooms, but 2 rooms produce sufficient water to create 100 square meters of vertical ecosystems.
mhm. Now, I mean, this project is pretty fascinating. So for those of you, I mean, first question that I would have would be when you mentioned I mean, urban planners, we have this question around reusing gray water. How much technical difficulty was it to kind of rebuild, innovate the infrastructure, or how difficult is it to install these filters that kind of secure it's a reusable, safe water to use further?
It's actually quite simple because most of the plumbing infrastructure is in most buildings are easy to get access to, and
Mhm,
basically what you just need to do is to redirect the water instead of it going to the communal sewage system. We redirect it to our treatment system,
mhm,
which also is a very basic system. In this case, we're only treating gray water, not black water, and
mhm.
gray water is actually very easy to treat. It doesn't require much because it's not that polluted. Um, each person, when we take a shower, we produce about 100 liters of water. So in a hotel, people taking a lot of showers, we're able to produce enough quantity of water to irrigate. But the implementation is very simple, and it doesn't take much time either.
That's really cool to hear. I mean, um, you mentioned also, I mean, filtration and the systems to installed or to be installed. What is the nature-based element around that? Um,
So there is technology of treating wastewater with nature-based solution that has been on the market for a long time, since the 50s actually, and it's called uh, constructed wetlands.
mm,
So these are basically, in the natural world, we have wetlands ecosystem. They're part of the overall ecosystem of the natural world. And what their function is in nature is to filter water. Um, so basically, by just mimicking how wetland works in the natural world, we can construct it ourselves. And the challenge with constructed wetland until now has been that they take a lot of space. They require a lot of space, and in urban areas we don't have much space. Recently, there was some really good innovations happening where technology was integrated into the constructed wetland, and made them require less space. So now finally, this technology has come to a point where it doesn't require that much space, and we can now integrate it into urban areas. So the way we're doing it in our other projects is that we use the roof surface to make a green roof. But
Mhm.
instead of just having grass, we're making a constructed wetland. And the outcome is the same. It's just plants, basically. But
Mhm.
what the roof is doing is actually treating the water. And the way
Mhm.
it works is that the roots create an environment beneath the soil where certain bacteria thrive that actually thrive on the bacteria from the wastewater. So the combination of the roots and the environment that these bacteria grow in, we also pump in some air into the system to
Mhm.
accelerate the treatment system. So basically, with roots, we can treat the wastewater, take it to a point where it's clean, and then before it's being reused for irrigation, it goes through a UV light that kills any remaining bacteria that would exist in the water, and that is aligned with all the local regulation of reusing the water.
Oh, this is excellent. I mean, it's very fascinating. First of all, I mean, did you kind of have the idea in mind, or were you browsing for some kind of compatible solutions that you can implement, or how
So
did it? Mhm.
I've always, just tried a lot of different things, and with my experience, just see what works and doesn't work. Many many people fear of trying new things because of failing, but to me, it's always been the only way of learning is to fail. So for the past 15 years, I've tried all kind of different ways of treating water,
Mhm.
and I kind of got a good understanding of what works and what doesn't work. And I started combining the things that really work together. And the vertical garden behind you is one example,
Mhm.
um, where we combined vertical garden with the past treatment system that we developed, but we didn't really know how well it would work, the combination, but it ended up working really good. Actually, that project's been awarded by the Spanish government, by the city of Malaga that you mentioned, and now we're working on scaling it up and doing it in different parts around the city.
Now, when we talk about scaling, there is one more element that I found pretty innovative. I mean, we all want a smart buildings. We all want smart control, optimized efficiency. Da da da. You have all these things. So there is an element on smart tech as well included in the system, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we we s- we've developed the irrigation system to optimize it as much as possible and have full control over what's going on. Everything from the water levels to the pressure and to the humidity, etc. However, we're now actually working on, as we're speaking, we're working on to make it even more advanced. We recently got granted another European funding for developing AI model into this irrigation system. And basically, what we're doing now is that we are integrating advanced sensors in the
Mhm.
garden itself that is providing us with real-time data of the humidity uh, of the roots. So this data is then um, collected into our AI model that is also connected to the weather station and
Mhm.
understands the temperatures of the day, understand how humid the atmosphere is, if it's about to rain or not, and it can itself take the decision of when to irrigate the plants. So right now we have a automated system that is irrigating the plants based on time, but we're now changing that into artificial intelligence that will only irrigate when the humidity level is actually going down. So with this way, we can really, really save a lot of water. And also what we're doing, which is very interesting, is all that data that we're collecting, we're building a AI agent, like an avatar that the property owners can talk to. So not only regarding the water, but also regarding the biodiversity, we're integrating AI cameras in the garden that can identify different wildlife, that can identify if there's any bugs or pests that are being developed in any part of the garden. And all that data goes to this artificial intelligence, which is an agent that the property owners can speak to, and they can ask about the well-being of the garden, and they can understand how many birds are living in the garden, how many lizard it has, and its um, humidity level, and etc.
So if I understand you right, I mean, it's pretty exciting. It's getting even better. So if I understand you right, it's like, please take it. Hopefully, it's not insulting because ChatGPT is for some very progressive, for some it's very not as high quality. But I understand it as a generative AI model that is fed with information, with knowledge to kind of advise and be the biotonomy expert in your laptop, whether you're at the reception of the hotel, of the facility, of the building, which has such a facade to kind of advise, consult, and help them to see through whatever, make a decision.
Absolutely, you framed it very well. And the reason we're doing that is because one of the main challenges with gardening, vertical gardening, is the maintenance cost. So we want to bring down the cost. We want to make this more available for everyone. So we've identified if we can reduce the maintenance cost, we can scale it up. So today we have, our technical team that is taking all these decisions based on all the data that we have on our computers. So we're constantly changing the irrigation. Um, but this AI model will be trained itself and be able to take even better decisions than what we can, because it can also predict the weather, which we cannot do.
Hmm. Understand? Wow, very, very, very interesting. And does it have also an impact on the lifespan of the green wall, or yeah, the ecosystem, vertical ecosystem that one has created?
Yeah, absolutely. See, we're using a hydroponic system, which means we don't have any soil. Uh, the plants are basically growing in between two textile that is constantly um, irrigated with the water. So it's very important to make sure that the roots don't get too much or too little water. So they just get exactly what they need. So if you're able to achieve that, then your plants are going to thrive much better. If you irrigate them too much, the roots going to mold and they're going to die out. If you irrigate too little, they're going to dry out. So that will cost you to have to change plants
Mm.
sometimes. But we believe with this AI model, we can actually give them exactly just what they need and make sure the lifespan of the plants are much longer. We have a combination of plants and trees in this project, and we're learning which ones that are lasting longer. We have some trees there for over 2 years that we never had to maintain. We never had to interfere in any way because they're having the right conditions. So by being able to give them the right condition, we can enhance the lifespan of the plants.
So, Moein, you also took us a little bit on this journey of, when the, because many people share the vision, no, of a green future, of green cities, and you said it. You're absolutely right. There is lack of space. Space is precious in the city. So how can we kind of bring this together, a green vision and this rare space that we have now? Going like this. I mean, it's many questions that it also opens up, and I believe it's not all to be answered within the session today because it's just so big. So I hope we're gonna get a part two time with you sometimes in the new year, or maybe also different projects, not only this one because this is super specific and pretty exciting. But is there maybe the first one? Is there a potential, or do you see possibility to also not only have aesthetic plants but also functional plants being grown on such facades with the combination that you're kind of already running right now, piloting right now with the wastewater treatment, having this nature-based element, having water wastewater management system, having this vertical ecosystem that you create. You have this biodiversity, smart elements, so it's really super. But how can we kind of enhance? Now we have all these benefits, this thermal comfort, we have this emission reduction, we have water management, we have biodiversity that you kind of contribute to the urban space. But is there also maybe food production a part of the vision, or is it completely like, wow, I mean, no, not possible?
No, absolutely. I mean, first of all, let's define functional, because I think that's what you wanted to get at, is for us humans, know that it produces food, because
Mm,
what is doing today is creating habitat for wildlife. You know,
mhm,
a lot of the wildlife in the cities just don't know where to live because there's really lack of nature. You know, you can many times see wildlife living in basements and places where they're not meant to live. So it has that function today, that it creates habitat for wildlife. Now, how can it also be a function for our food system? You can absolutely grow food in these vertical gardens. You would need to develop in a way that you have better access, because food requires harvesting and more maintaining
mhm,
than just plants and trees. So um, we've we were discussing of doing that in the beginning, but we didn't want to scare the urban planners too much. So we said we start like this, and then in the future we can also show how we can use these facades to produce food, because you're absolutely right. That is a big challenge for our cities. A lot of our food is produced so far away from our cities, so we have to, pesticide them a lot, which basically has a big effect on our well-being. So how can we reduce the distance from our food and where we consume it, and use these vertical gardens? Now, we are in the process of developing some of these for restaurants, and there we are doing food production. So basically, the guest can directly, pick themselves some mint from the vertical garden to add to their food, for example, and also for the restaurant itself. It's completely doable. Basically, you can grow any type of plants when you're indoor. When you're outdoor, you need to choose plants that are adapted to the local climate.
okay. I mean, one element, I mean, we all know the discussion around regen farming and, the impact on or how degraded our soils are. So it's really kind of nicely kind of fusing the topic or blending in. And it would be super interesting once you run a pilot or you're having a pilot to share it with the community also for weeks. We're more than happy to do so. And also, definitely, what would be interesting is the nutritional values that we are looking at from the plants that are farmed in this way. If we see any difference, I mean, there is a lot of studies now coming out on the reduction of the nutritional value of the production or produce that we harvest right now compared to 50 years ago, etc., based on fertilizers, da da da. So it's very interesting what you're kind of piloting there, and it has a lot of potential, especially. with the times that we are kind of trying to maneuver through and adjust to, and it's we're somewhere in the beginning, I believe.
Absolutely.
Moin, maybe just because we are approaching at the end of part one, I hope so, about bioautonomy projects or approach, and what would be the next big thing that people can look out for you or can look out for with you with bioautonomy? Would you maybe like to also share with community, and also where can they find you if anybody is interested to maybe learn more about your approach, contact you? What would be the best thing to do?
So, besides uh, vertical garden and water treatment, actually, what the core um, um, objective of our organization is that we develop autonomous buildings. They are self-sufficient building in terms of heating, cooling, electricity, water, wastewater, food production. So that is basically what we're really, really good at of doing, and that's what we've been doing for the past 15 years. And now we are starting to train a lot of people around the world of
Mm,
how to use our solutions in their own projects. So we recently just launched our first online academy program. So for anyone who wants to learn, we're about just to launch it again for the second time. You can go to our website, bioautonomy.com, and you sign up for the waiting list. And we will announce it to you as soon as we launch it for the second time. It's an online program where you have many hours of classes. You can learn about the different solutions and different projects. And obviously, we're also on all social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, TikTok, etc.
wonderful, wonderful, great. So, for all of you that would like to learn more, I think it's the best opportunity to start like this, or if there is any more or deeper interest in the topics, etc., there is always a place to kind of discuss or connect.
Yeah.
Would there be any last thought, Moin, that you would like to share with the audience, with the community? Maybe like unfiltered. You have the opportunity right now.
Well, I would just like to say for anyone who's here and resonates with these solutions and would like to see, this happening in their own city, I recommend you, um, if it excites you, go for it. Take the initiative.
Mm,
Bring it up. Go to your local urban planners and bring it up. And don't fear of rejection. Before I came to the point where we are now, I was rejected constantly, over and over. There were so many people who thought our ideas are just crazy and stupid. And today we're being awarded quite frequently for what we're doing. So don't be afraid. Take the risk. We live in a time where we need bold solutions and we need people to take initiatives.
great stuff. Thank you so much for your message, for the encouragement, for your insights on the system. Super exciting. And yeah, thank you so much for your time, of course, to everybody that stayed with us. You have the replay available, and I see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.